Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you from the DeKalb County Library System. And I'm going to do something really neat today. I've been looking at some different things, and I'm always trying to find new ways to make really pretty chains to go with either to wear by themselves or to go with something that you put on them. And I found a couple of techniques that a couple of people use to make links, and I thought they were so cute. One was Susie Wong. Try to give credit. One was Susie Wong, and she had jump rings, and she just wrapped the jump, or she just put wrapped wire around part of the jump ring just to give it a little bit of a tweak, just to make it kind of pretty. And she literally made an entire bracelet out of jump rings that were wrapped. Really cute. And I thought, well, really cute. And then I saw another video where somebody took just used slightly larger, well, I think it was 8mm, which is what Susan Wong was using, jump rings and put beads on them. And you have to have a particular kind of bead because they have to go around that sharp curve. So she was using, I think, seed beads. And she put those on and then just linked the jump rings together and made a bracelet out of that. And I thought, that's really cute, but I'm worried about those jump rings pulling apart. Then I remembered Susie's and I thought, why not put those together? Wrap the part that has the opening so that it won't come apart. Now, Susie made split rings, so you didn't really have to worry about it coming apart because a split ring opens differently. But I decided to go with a wrapped jump ring, a beaded wrapped jump ring. So we're going to put beads on jump rings and wrap the ends so that the openings are covered. And we're going to use those as links. The other part of our chain that we're going to make is going to be paper beads. I have these beautiful paper beads that came from Uganda. And I'm always trying to figure out different ways to use trade beads that also came from, I think the trade beads came from Rwanda, I think. I can't remember. It was one of those free trade things, and I got them, and beautiful. So I'm putting the trade beads on the jump rings and doing a wrapped link out of the paper beads. And we're going to use that. We're going to put it all together. We're going to make it into a chain. There are a lot of moving parts. I'll tell you that right now. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's very easy. It's just repetitive because you're going to wrap a jump ring. You're going to put the bead on, or beads. You decide how many beads you want to put on there, if you want to fill the whole thing or if you want to make it a little bit, have the wire exposed so that it's a little more flirty looking. Excuse me. So basically you open your jump ring, put the beads on, wrap the jump ring, put it aside, do it again and again and again and again, and then you make your wrapped bead out of the paper bead, and you link them all together with more jump rings. That's it. Wrapped paper bead, wrapped beaded jump ring, link all of the pieces together, and that's it. It's not hard. It's very easy. It will take you a little time, but it's worth the effort, as you will see when we finish. So let's get going with this because I am really excited to show you what we can do. I tell you, I don't understand why I keep doing that. Good Lord, I've done it 3 times in I think the last 3 videos, and it's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. Okay? See you in a sec. Okay, so now what we're going to do, first of all, I'm using prefab 8mm jump rings. Nice, nice large size. You can use any size. If you want bigger jump rings, you can use bigger jump rings. It does not have to be this size. I started out with 12mm, which were really big. Well, I mean, bigger than this anyway. But I decided to go with these 8mm, and they're nice and strong. So that's really neat. And then the other thing we're going to do is make our own 6mm jump rings to provide the links. So let's get started on this one. So I got a little selection of beads here, trade beads that I got that we're going to add to the jump rings. And again, you can put as many or as few on as you want. I'm going to, this one's kind of big. Isn't that pretty? It's a nice trade bead. See if I can get a better view here. It's trying to zoom in, it just doesn't want it. That's annoying. Anyway, there's a bead. Isn't that neat? I like it. And here's another one. This one looks like clay, I guess. Awesome. Anyway, and then this one just kind of looks like a seed bead. Anyway, we're going to use my trades. And the first thing I'm going to do is open my 8mm jump ring. And here again is the proper way to open your jump ring. I'm going to use 2 pliers so that you can see. Here's the opening. I put the pliers on one side and then put another set of pliers on the other side, and I twist until it opens. Nice, neat, and tidy. So then I'm going to put however many beads I want on there. I'm going to put this one. And oops, this little green one. This is really pretty. It's kind of a tealish color. And I'm using these trade beads because they usually, like seed beads, are tiny beads, but they have, oops, it looks like it wants to fall off, but they have large holes. So they fit over there nice and neat. And then I just close this back up. Make sure the ends are together. And jiggle it a little bit so it's closed. And neat. So there's my first one. And then I'm going to put this one striped trade on the other. Now I showed you how to do it with 2 pliers. You can also just open it with your fingers. Just take your fingers, boop, and open it. Or you can use your pliers on one side of your opening and my thumb on the other side. Push it down. Ta-da! Open jump ring. And then I'm going to slide my bead on. Again, see how big the hole is in this? It's almost as big as the bead itself. And then close it back up. Make sure the edges are together. And there we go. Isn't that neat? Ah, I know I didn't think of it before. Anyway, now what I'm going to do is wrap my jump rings. And for that, I'm using 24 gauge wire. And I just need a couple of inches. I'm just eyeballing it. But basically, all you need is 2 inches of wire. So I'm going to get a couple of pieces of wire here. One for each jump ring. Okay. And I'm going to start with this one. So what I like to do in order to get it to start the wrap is bend my wire so that I have something to hold on to while I'm wrapping the other end. So I like to bend my wire and push it as close together as I can get without closing it up completely. And I'm going to slide it on my jump ring. And now my objective is to wrap over the opening. And here's my opening. Now I don't have to try to wrap right on the opening because this is going to slide around while I'm wrapping. So I just want to do a few wraps and then push the coils over the opening in my jump ring to make sure it's covered. Make sure that's completely closed. The ends are nicely put together. Now you can do the split ring if you would rather do that. Then you don't have to worry so much about this little opening being there. I'm using the jump ring. Okay, so I slide my wire on like so. And then I just need to get it started. Getting it started is the most challenging part of it all. So there's my little opening. Put that off to the side there and start my wrap. So I'm going to hold on to the one side of my wire. Sometimes I like to hold the bead because it gives me a little bit more leverage. So I'm holding on to my wire and I make that one little wrap. Find my opening again. Where are you? So I can make sure I cover it up. Okay, there it is. So there's the opening. And let's start wrapping beside it. Okay, so I like to curve it around. See if I can get up here where you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to feed my wire through the middle of my jump ring. I'm going to push this down so I can get a better look at my hands. It's kind of hard because these are tiny and my fingers aren't. So here's my wire. There's my jump ring. I'm going to feed the end of my wire through the jump ring. And I kind of use a push motion so that I can make sure that the wire doesn't get crimped. Okay, so now I've got it through there. See the big opening there? I want to tighten that. So I'm just going to take my pliers and pull it through, pull it around the rest of the way. And then I'm going to wrap it again. Just push that through my jump ring. And pull it through. There's another wrap. Okay. Okay, I think that's better. So there's a couple of wraps and let's go again. Around. Pull that through. I did mention the size wire, didn't I? I'm using 24 gauge. You can also use 26 gauge. Needs to be something that is easily manipulated. And every once in a while, I straighten out my wire a little bit. And I did forget to mention your tools. You need your round nose pliers, flat nose pliers, and your cutters. And I'm using these super flat ones too, but they are not an absolute necessity. So I've got 3 little wraps there. So I'm going to bring it back through again. And notice I'm wrapping and making the coils beside each other. Let's get that through there. And then once I've made a few wraps, sure that's beside it and not on top of it. Push my little coils together. And then I can go ahead and slide it over my little opening. Might have to adjust the opening a little bit if it comes apart, just to make sure it's secure. And then I like to push, get that together. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. And then I like to push my coils over the opening and squeeze down on them so that it's nice and tight. Just my first few coils. And scoot it over the opening. It's fighting me. There we go. All right. And now I can finish my coils. I don't know why I do these projects that require my concentration, and mostly for me, the concentration is making sure that I don't do that, that I'm right there in the line of the camera. But close enough so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's do another wrap here. And I just, it doesn't, it's up to you how many wraps you do. If you cut them all the same length, you're going to come out with about the same number of wraps. So I just give myself 2 inches. That's plenty to go about halfway or at least a third of the way around an 8mm jump ring with 24 gauge wire. Sorry about my thumb. Every once in a while, I want to straighten out my little coils, make sure they're nice and neat. And just keep wrapping. I use both my pliers. And I try not to grip too tightly because it's not necessary to grip too tightly. This is supposed to be very organic looking and very rustic. But if I give myself a light, this is also very, very malleable wire. So there's no reason, you don't really have to manhandle it. And especially if you're using 26 gauge, you definitely don't want to manhandle it because it will break. It will not stand up to the onslaught of that. So now what I'm going to do, remember I said that these will shift around a little bit. So I'm going to push my coils over until they're nicely over the top of my opening. And I think this will be about my last wrap. Okay. Push that under. Inside of the bead. And now I'm going to cut it because I want it to land. I want this little end to land underneath, or if you have enough space, you can just twist it around until the tail is underneath or on the inside of my loop. See this little tail here? I want it to go underneath so it's not exposed and will catch on anything or scratch you. Okay, so push that down, squeeze these together a little bit so it's nice and tidy. Like that. Let's get a little tighter. There we go. Yeah. And let's go to the other side. and finish it off. Slip that around through the middle. And yeah, this is good. So I'm going to make this second to my last loop around the jump ring. I think I can give it one more turn. I'm going to snip that off a little bit so that it lands on the inside of my jump ring. Push that little tail down. There we go. I'm just going to push my little rings together so that they're nice and neat and snug. There we go. There. That little end to go down in there. Get down there. There we go. And there's my wrapped jump ring. Yay! Let's do this one. One more. Squeeze it just to get it started. And again, you can put as many beads on as you want. I just put 2 on because this one's really big. I love trade beads. They're all different and they're so colorful. Anyway, so I just put 2 on that one. And I put 1 on this one because it's fairly large for a trade bead. It is a really good size. All right. So let's slide on my wire. The opening's down there somewhere. Let's just start the wrap. Okay, got that nice and tight. I have this little tail to hold on to while I wrap the other side. I try to hold on to the bead too because I think it gives me a little more leverage. That's the way I do it. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it that way. So I'm going to feed my wire through my jump ring. Just pull it through. Use my pliers to kind of push it through because I try to avoid any kinks in my wire. And if I can do it as close as I can to the jump ring, instead of trying to pull it like I'm sewing a needle, that doesn't work all that well because it's wire and it will try to get all crinkly, which can't be helped when you're manipulating it like this, but I try to keep it down to a minimum so it doesn't get any knots in it. Okay. Just another loop. Straighten it out a little bit. Tap it through again. Okay, feed that through. Tighten it up a little bit. There we go. And make another loop. Okay. And again, and you just keep doing this. Until you've filled your jump ring with as many loops as you want. As much coiling as you want it to have. And so I'll squeeze my coils together. And then I try to find my opening so I can push the coils over it. Where is it? Oh, there it is back there. So my opening's over here. Push my coils back over it. So they cover it up. Okay, so my little opening's over there, so I'm going to continue wrapping back on the other end. Get my little bead out of the way so you can see a little bit better, I think. Okay, push the wire through. Oops. Okay, and let's continue coiling around my jump ring. Scooch it over my little opening, make sure it's covered. Get over there. Okay, and continue my wrap. Now, the main reason that I decided to do this double process is because I was a little concerned that if I just put beads on there and linked everything together, then if the jump ring opens up, I not only, it doesn't only kind of come apart where you can just put it back together, but the beads that I've strung on will fall off. They'll get lost. I didn't want that, so I thought this was the perfect solution to that possible problem, was to wrap the wire around it so that the opening is not exposed and it won't as easily come apart, because once you finished with the wrapping, you kind of squeeze the wire down over the jump ring so that it won't as easily be able to separate. Okay, and there's the end. Push it down underneath. And if you need to clip some off, you can do that. I just like to make sure that my ends are on the inside, the underside, well, I call it the inside of my wire, of my jump ring, and not exposed on top of it. See that little guy sticking up? There. There we go. And let's go to the other side. I see him sticking out here. Get down there. There we go. All right, let's do the other side. And I like to hold on to my wires so that they don't shift away from me. So now that I don't have a tail to hold on to, I'll hold on to the rings themselves. If you can, I would push the bead over so it's not in the way, and just continue my coiling. And you might look at this and go, good Lord, that looks like a lot of work. And it's not really so much work as it is time consuming. It's one of those things that you can do. If I wasn't on camera, it wouldn't take me this long. But I'm concerned with trying to make sure that you can see what I'm doing, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going a lot slower than I would normally have to. This is like knitting or something where you can like sit and watch television or listen to an audio book or something while you're doing it. And it's just repetitive. That's all. Not hard, just repetitive. Okay, that's finished. Push my little rings together. And there we go. A little opening there. There. There we have it. Neat, huh? So now, the next thing that we'll do is take my little paper bead. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to wrap paper beads. And again, we're going to use 24 gauge wire. Now, I suggest that you have at least 2.5 inches of wire on each, in order to wrap each side of your bead. Where is my ruler? There it is. Okay. So I like to give myself at least 2.5 inches on each side. And in order to know how much I need, then I just measure my bead. This is about 1/2 inch. And I need another 5 inches. So I need 5.5 inches. And because we're working with paper beads, they're all going to be different sizes. So you need to measure your bead first and then measure your wire. So I need 5.5 inches of wire. There we go. that off. There we go. And take my bead, thread it through. I just thread it through find the halfway point or approximate halfway point, or you can measure on your ruler. So I just do that and take the bead off, just so I have it bent back at a right angle. That's it. And this wire is very, very soft and malleable. So I really don't need to use the pliers for that. I can just use my fingers and make a loop. And I want a nice size loop because what I'm, excuse me, losing my voice. Because what I'm going to do is make a little funnel effect on top. So I'm going to make a big opening. So I wrap that around and I have this out to the side, the tail, and then I start to wrap it around the loop. And I'm going to keep my wraps nice and loose because I'm going to create kind of a funnel. So nice loose wraps up over the loop that I just made. See that? See, now I have a little funnel over there. And then I can take my pliers and just kind of very, very gently fix them the way I want them to look. Squeeze the little rings together if I need to. Again, this is very soft, malleable wire, so you don't need to use a lot of pressure. And I'm going to clip the end so that's right in the middle of my loop. So I'm just going to clip that off right in the middle of my loop. There's the end. And I'm going to bend it down and push it down inside my little funnel. My funnel. So that the end is hidden. And there it is. Isn't that neat? I love that. And then when you put your bead on, that's what it looks like. Now you can do that on any bead. I like to do it on paper beads or anything with a slightly larger hole because it really covers the hole up, but it looks really pretty. Isn't that neat? I like it. And then you can just take your pliers and do whatever neatening up you want to do. But this is a very organic look, so I don't mess with it too much. Isn't that neat? It looks like a little tornado. No, I was getting ready to do what is that? That's not the right one. That's that's the Witch of the West, Wicked Witch of the West. Oh my gosh. Anyway. So there's the one side. Now I'm going to do the other side. So I bend it out to the side until it's again at a kind of a right angle. And I want my loops to go the same direction as the other one. So make sure I bend it out to the same side like the other one. Okay, and then I just take my fingers, make a loop, just loop it. Nice big loop like on the other side. Doesn't have to be quite that large. Here we go. Still nice size, nicely sized loop. Make it round. There we go. And let's wrap this baby. But first, I'm going to show you how to attach this two ways. Closed and putting on the jump rings that way, or open and then attaching it to the jump weight. So I'm not going to close this one. I showed you how to wrap that side, and I'll show you how to wrap this side after we attach it to the jump ring. So the next thing I'm going to do is put that aside, and we're going to make jump rings. Now, for the jump rings, for my chain, I like to double my jump rings. Simply because I think it makes it more secure. So for your jump rings, you can use either, this is memory wire. Oh, Virginia. You can use either 20 or 25 gauge or 20 or 22 gauge wire. Either one is fine. So here we go. So you only need about a 1/2 inch of wire for each jump ring. And I'm going to show you how to avoid having to buy them. I'm just leaving this on the spool, but you only need about 1/2 inch of wire for each one, just to give you an idea of how much wire you'll need for 20, 30 jump rings. That's about kind of the rule of thumb, depending on the size. And I'm going to make mine 6 millimeter, so I only need about 1/2 inch per jump ring. So what I'm going to do is take my pliers. I'm going to grab my wire so that the end is firmly ensconced in between the teeth of the wire and that nothing's sticking out the back. And then I'm going to start to turn it in a loop. See, it's part of the way around. Just keep going until I have a full loop. And that will be one jump ring. And if I wanted to make a bunch of jump rings, I could just keep going. The tail of my wire needs to be on the side that's going towards the tip. And I need to keep the part that I'm wrapping in the same place on my round nose pliers. Otherwise, the size will not be consistent. So I'm just going to continue to rotate until I have as many jump rings as I want. I'm just going to do 2. There's the tail end, or the beginning of it. I'm going to cut that off. I'm just going to cut it off where I just finished. So now I have 2 little rings here. And I'm going to cut it off until I have 2 jump rings. Make sure, if you have strong enough pliers that you can cut through all of them, great. I like to cut mine one at a time so I can be sure that they're nice and flush. So I take the flush part of my pliers, the back of my pliers, and line it up against the end of my jump ring and snip. And there's one nice jump ring. And then this one has a little tail on it. So I'll cut the little tail off, the little excess that was left. And there's my other jump ring. There we go. That's how you make jump rings. Easy, easy as pie. Now, I've already made a bunch so that I can keep going. All right, so let's do this. So now what we're going to do is link everything together. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to link these guys. So I'm going to link this to these little rings here. So what I'm going to do is double up on my rings, and I want it to kind of have a little chain effect. So I'm going to have 2 jump rings attached to 2 jump rings. So I just have a little chain, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And if you want to, you can just use 20 gauge wire or even a larger wire. You don't want it to be too big. I'd stick with 20 gauge at the strongest. And I'm just going to make a little chain. So what I want to do is have 2 jump rings here, and then another 2 that I'm going to connect to those. So I'm going to start connecting my jump rings to my rings. So again, the proper way to open a jump ring is to put either use your fingers and twist, or use your pliers and just twist them open. I'm just going to open several of them. So I'm going to need 4 to attach each of my wrapped jump rings. See how easy that is to open? Just twist it. All right, so now all I need to do is attach one to one of my wrapped links, my wrapped jumped rings, and close it. And if I open it to the side with the twisting motion, all I have to do to put it back together is squeeze it closed, and then I check to make sure it's nicely lined up. And if I need to, I can just take another pair of pliers and kind of wiggle it until the ends match up together, until it's nice and neat and closed. There we go. And then I'm going to put a second jump ring on as well. Make sure you keep the other jump ring free. You don't want to link those 2 together. You just want to link the small jump ring over the large jump ring, and then get the ends nice and neat. So now I have one piece of my chain already. And then I'm going to link another set of jump rings through both of the little jump rings. So I've got this one jump ring, put it through both of my small jump rings like so, and close. And do the same with the second jump ring. And again, make sure you're just putting it through these the 2 first jump rings, and keeping the third one free. And squeeze. And check to make sure it's nicely closed. And there we go. There, nice little chain. Okay, so now we want to attach, I'm going to attach this one to my paper bead. Remember how I left that open? Now I can just slide that on. And slide my two rings down inside the loop. There we go. And I'm ready to wrap. Let's wrap that around and make my funnel. Nice loose wrap. Hold it with my pliers. Let me move these little guys out of the way. And wrap. Up here where you can see. Push my little rings together so they're nice and neat. Check the other side, make sure that's nice and neat. And if it isn't, just make it neat. And I can do that with my fingers because this wire is so soft for the moment. The more you work with it, the more it work hardens. So you don't have to worry about later going, hey, well, that was awfully soft. How's it going to hold its shape? It will, because the more you work with it, the stiffer it gets over time. Okay. And I think I've got one more little loop that I can go around here, and that's going to be it. Around. There. There's my little funnel. Make my little adjustments. Make it nice and tidy. Okay. And take my little end here, put a bend in it, bend it down into my funnel, and just tuck it down. Nice and neat. And there's my little second little funnel wrap. Ta-da! There we go. And do whatever adjustments that you want to do to make it look the way you want it to look. There it is. There. Okay. That's crazy. Anyway, so let's go ahead and attach the other side of my little chain. So we're going to attach this one. Again, I'm going to take my little jump ring, slide it on my wrapped jump ring. And close it. Yes. Same thing with the next one. Slide that one on. And close. Adjust it so you can see. Close. All right. Here's the first link of my chain. Let's go to the next one. And then we're going to attach this jump ring over the 2 jump rings that are already there and close it. Actually, first, before we close it, we're going to attach it to this guy. So take that jump ring, slide it over my larger wrapped jump ring, and now close it. And my last jump ring, slide it over that this other jump ring. And what I want to make sure is I slide it over both of those jump rings and the large jump ring as well. And close. Nice and tight. This is one of the reasons why I like having 2 jump rings, so that if one comes loose or comes apart, you have the other one to save the day. And would you look at that? Here's my chain. I like it. So let's attach it to the rest of the chain. You had to know that I had this done, right? Because I want to show you how to attach the other side of this while it's closed. So I wanted to make sure you could see how to do both of those things. So let's see here. This one already has 2 on it. This one has 1 on it. So let's attach these to this. Now, I want to show you something. Here's the chain. Isn't that awesome? That's the chain. I mean, it is just stunning. I love it. So now what we're going to do is attach this little piece that I showed you how to make to the rest of it. Now, you may not be able to see that because it's long enough so that you can't see the whole thing on camera, I don't think. Let's see here. There. Now I think you can see the whole thing. Yeah. I did not do consistent links because I wanted it to be very random looking. It's not random. What I did was 2 links here. Let me see. 2, 3. Where is it? Where's my thing? No, I have to get this one on. So this will make it 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. I wanted something a little bit different. It didn't have, you can do it 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 with a bead in between, or you can do 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 with a bead in between. And when I say 3, 3, 3, I mean, or you can do 4 jump rings, 4 wrap jump rings, 1 bead, 4 wrap jump beads, 1 bead, 4 wrap, 1 bead. It's up to you. I decided to alternate it, and I just went 2, 3, 4. I started to go 3, 3, 3 all around, but I said, let's do something different. Actually, I put an extra one on by mistake, and I went, doggone it. And then I said, well, that will be a mistake that I make all the way through this piece, and I love it. I'm off track. So back to finishing this up. So now I want to attach this to the rest of my chain. So I have 1 link over here and 2 links over here, and I've got the 2, 3, 4 going over here. So I'm going to make this one 3. Yes. So I'm going to attach these 2 links to this link right here, and that'll give me 1, 2, 3 jump rings, 3 large jump rings. So I'm going to attach these to the other side of my wrapped link. So I'm going to open up my loop. Here's the opening. Open it up. Let's get a little closer here. Slide it on my link. Yep, open it a little more. Oh, actually, it's going to be on this side. 1, 2, is that right? Yep, this side. Okay. Put it on my large link. I'm going to use the pliers so you can see what my hands are doing. Okay, slide it on the link, or slide my link on, close it up. Okay. And then slide the other one on. Open it up. And close. There. There we go. Nice. Make sure that's nice and tight here. Yes. Now it's attached to the other side. So grab my other jump rings, open it, slide it over my little funnel loop, and close. And same thing with the other one. Open, put it on. Make sure you avoid this first ring. You don't want to put those two together. You just want to attach it to the loop in your bead. And close. And let's go with the other two. Open it. Attach this one to the two. That are already there. So slide it in both rings. Like so. And then attach that to the other ring, the other wrapped ring. And close. Grab my other jump ring, the last one, open it, slide it in both of those rings that are there on the bottom. Both of those rings right here. And then slide it in the wrapped ring. And close. Again, make sure that the other one doesn't get tangled up in there. It needs to be all by itself. And close. Make sure it's nice and tight. And there we go. Here's my chain. Isn't that pretty? Yay! I love this. It's just so pretty. And it's just, you're just making these little links and then you put them all together and you end up with this. So let's take a look at it on the big camera. Isn't that lovely? What do you think of that? Isn't that neat? I'm getting some glare. I hope you can see this. I should have put it on a darker background, but I did not. But there it is. I wonder if I turn this light if it'll be better. I think that's better. Pull it up so you can really get a good look. Here we go. Oh, lovely. Get up really close. You can't see the whole chain, but you get the idea. Isn't that pretty? Doing a sweep. And it's long enough so that you can just put it over. Well, I made this one long enough so I could just put it over my head. I don't have to worry about, I don't think it's going to go with the shirt, but I don't have to worry about a clasp or anything like that. I just pop it over my head and I am ready to roll. Oh, isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. It's so ornate looking. I mean, oh, it's just beautiful. You can wear it all by itself or you can wear it with something on the bottom, but you don't have to. Oh, this would make a neat bracelet too. how that would look as a bracelet. Yes, that would be a gorgeous bracelet. Wouldn't it? Oh, yeah, that would be really pretty. But now we have a necklace, and I just love it. I absolutely think it's one of the prettiest things that I've ever done. And I have two people to. I wish I could remember the other one. I think it wasn't actually a person. It was just somebody showing you how to do. Something that was really for kids, so kids can do it with the little bead on it, and you put it on the jump ring, and they made a little bracelet, and it was cute. This kind of made it a little more upscale. Added Susie Wong's lovely wrapped jump ring, and then added some other beads to attach it. And it doesn't have to be paper beads, it could be any beads you want. But I thought that the paper beads were so colorful. And of course, they twin beautifully with the African trade beads. So there's that. Anyway, that is our tutorial for the day. I'm just looking at it. It's so cute. That's my tutorial for today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll take some time and do this because it is well worth it. And it depends on how many of these loops you want to do will tell you how much time it's going to take, because you can actually make it shorter with clasp, and then you won't have to do as many. I did quite a few, so that I have about a 22 or 24-inch chain, something like that, 23. And so it just depends on how many links you want to make. You can make it a bracelet, much less. And you don't even have to have the beads. If you decide to make just a chain without the beads in between, you can do that. This is such a pretty thing that you can make it any multiple ways, and it will come out beautiful. That's it. That's our show for the day. So until next time, I hope you'll come back, and I have so many more plans for things that we're going to do. So I hope that you will see me later. And until then, stay safe, try to stay cool, and see you later. Bye-bye.